original reporting.
I'm Steve Kathan. The U.S. puts new pressure on Iran in the struggle over the Strait of Hormuz, a U.S. Navy blockade of shipping into and out of Iran. CBS's Natalie Brand says President Trump vows to eliminate Iranian attack ships that get in the way.
He's defending this U.S. blockade on Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz, saying that he thinks it will be effective because Iran will not be able to sell oil. We know that the U.S. is also, according to the president, trying to interdict vessels in international waters that have paid tolls to Iran, and that the U.S. is also beginning this operation to find mines that had been laid by Iran.
President Trump and Pope Leo are at odds over the war. CBS's Chris Livesay is traveling with the Pope.
Speaking to journalists on the papal plane to Africa, before it had even landed, he told journalists that he, quote, has no fear of the Trump administration and will continue to speak out loudly for the message of the gospel.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Iran's president among those weighing in on President Trump's posts blasting Pope Leo and depicting himself as Jesus healing the sick. Masoud Pezeshkian condemning what he calls the insult directed at both the pontiff and at Jesus, who is, quote, the prophet of peace and brotherhood. Criticism closer to home, too. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries calling it a shameless attack. Republican Congressman Don Bacon calling it, quote, a gaudy and juvenile post, and one that divides the party.
A federal judge has dismissed Trump's $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch over a story on his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Democrat Eric Swalwell could face an expulsion vote in Congress over allegations of sexual misconduct and assault. He's denied them, but has exited the race for governor in California. CBS LA's Christine Lazar.
The congressman posted on X saying, quote, I am deeply sorry for mistakes in judgment I've made in the past. I will fight these serious false allegations that have been made. The announcement comes after a former staffer accused Swalwell of raping her twice. 3 other women accused him of sexual misconduct, including sending them nude photos.
Well, CBS's Carter Evans has the latest on a pop star who ran afoul of the law last month.
Over the weekend, Britney Spears voluntarily checked herself into a rehab facility, according to a rep for the singer. It comes more than 5 weeks after Spears was arrested for allegedly driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. In a statement, her rep referred to the incident as unfortunate and completely inexcusable.
This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
Coming up, how prosecutors are battling Seattle's open-air drug markets. First, let's take a look at KIRO Newsradio traffic. A slight slowdown around Marysville on southbound I-5. That's just past the Tulalip Casino. Starting to clear up. Southbound I-5 into Seattle, we're just seeing manageable delays, not bad. Linwood to Seattle, it is actually better than your typical average time of 50 minutes. It's just 33 minutes into town. Linwood to Bellevue, this is where the problem is. It's slow going. There's a crash at Highway 527. It will take you an hour to get from Linwood to Bellevue, but 32 minutes if you want to take the HOV lanes. Federal Way to Tacoma, some minor slowdowns around Highway 18. Mop up from an earlier accident, current time of 16 minutes, and then heading into Seattle from the south end. Federal Way to Seattle, average time 33 minutes, no issues there. And then Federal Way to Bellevue, just a minute above the average time of 40 minutes. This traffic brought to you by Global Credit Union. Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. I'm John Repp. King County prosecutors are pushing back on critics who claim they're not making a dent in Seattle's open-air drug markets. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey reports they're pointing to a recent conviction as proof they're working on it.
A judge sentenced Viet Nguyen to 45 months in jail after 2 drug charges involving meth and fentanyl in an open-air drug market in the Chinatown International District. It's proof. Spokesperson Casey McNerthney says they're doing everything they can. Problem is, fentanyl is cheap and there's a lot of it.
It's so addicting. It's so easy to get. It's so cheap. It's coming into every county at such volumes. That's what the concern is.
McNerthney tells me the problem is far from being solved, but they want people to know they're not ignoring it either. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
State Superintendent Chris House Reutin says it's time for Washington to catch up and ban cell phones in classrooms, asking lawmakers to adopt a statewide standard instead of just studying the issue. Right now, 27 other states require phones to be kept away during instructional time, and Reutin tells TVW.
Common thread is that this really does work. It's not perfect, but students tell us, you know what I did at lunch? I talked to my peers.
A bill to restrict phones in Washington schools failed to pass over the last two legislative sessions. Economic forecasters say the World Cup will provide a smaller boost for the Seattle region than they first predicted because of the Iran conflict. Tourism officials now expecting a nearly 10% drop in their original revenue forecast for shops, hotels, and restaurants, according to the Seattle Times. Now, Visit Seattle says the 6 matches will still bring in up to $846 million to the region and create 20,000 jobs, but they are expecting fewer foreign travelers. And some surprisingly welcome news from the IRS. Taxpayers in many parts of the state now have until May 1st to file instead of April 15th. The IRS says it's because of the heavy rain and winds that caused flooding and mudslides in parts of our state back in December, and that includes the Puget Sound region. KIRO Newsradio weather. Cloudy skies, chance of showers, especially this morning. The high of 55 degrees. More rain tomorrow and a chance of thunderstorms on Wednesday. Currently, seeing some low clouds over downtown Seattle and a temperature of 49 degrees. I'm John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning. Happy Monday to all of you. It is April 13th. G is out today. He is recovering from his birthday bash. Angela Poe Russell is in. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy birthday to G.
It was a beautiful event yesterday.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So, and good morning to everybody.
Yeah, good morning. In case you wanted to see some of the pictures from his birthday bash, we have posted it on the Gee and Ursula Show Facebook page. Also, you all heard now about this brand new tax on millionaires, and it is already a full-blown legal war. So is this dead on arrival, or is it going to rewrite Washington law? We are going to ask former State Attorney General Rob McKenna, who is one of the plaintiff's attorneys. We'll ask him those questions. He's going to join us live at 9:30. As always, we invite you to join us on the Muckleshoot Casino and Resort text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973-KIRO. And with that, here are our top stories brought to you by Pendergast Law. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important shipping lanes on the planet, is basically at a standstill right now. Angela, the U.S. just launched this naval blockade targeting Iran's oil exports, trying to squeeze Tehran economically. But Iran still controls that choke point where about a fifth of the world's oil normally passes through. They're not backing down. Retired U.S. Army General Mike Lyons tells CBS News Iran has fast boats, drones, and sea mines in play, and they've already hit some ships in recent days.
Iran could also respond by activating the proxies they have, the Houthis in the area. They could start firing ballistic missiles at some of the ships, and as well as go after our Gulf allies that are there right now, which are clearly on our side. I think that's underreported here, that the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, they want us to continue this mission. They want to see Iran finished off here.
Well, meanwhile, oil prices are jumping. Shipping costs are climbing. This is Megan Leonhardt with Barron's.
What we're really worried about, I think, at this point is if we stay above $100 a barrel for the rest of this month, we could be looking at higher gas prices at the pump, during those critical Memorial Day, summer vacation type of time periods. And that could be really problematic for Americans.
And Angela, also looking at what happened over the weekend, there is tension now between the president and Pope Francis after the Pope raised concerns about the human cost of the war.
Too many people are suffering in the world today. Too many innocent people are being killed. And I think someone has to stand up and say there's a better way to do this.
And, of course, the president fired back, saying that the Pope should focus on the Vatican and leave U.S. leadership decisions to him.
We don't like a Pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a Pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
A person in his position in terms of a spiritual leader, a pope, should be encouraging our leaders to seek peace.
Yes, this is traditionally what the Pope does.
That is what any spiritual leader, if they are doing God's work, should be trying to get everyone to seek peace. And how do we understand that sometimes, that war is inevitable, but all opportunities for peace should be exhausted, because that's in terms of what spiritual leaders should be advocating for. And I want to hone in on one thing that the Pope was especially concerned about. It was the comments about wiping out the civilization. What was the line? It was, let me find it on my page here. A whole civilization. Do you remember that comment from last week?
It was Easter morning.
So whenever you talk about wiping out an entire civilization, any good spiritual leader should be raising the alarm on that or sounding the alarm on that. And we just heard it again, just framed a different way. The president said, we're going to finish the, what was it, just the president that just said it? It's been a few minutes since it played, but there was the term finish them off.
Well, what
does that mean?
So that was the retired U.S. Army General Mike Lyons saying that Gulf ally nations want Iran basically to have a regime change and to continue this war.
Well, it is important that when we're in the process of a war, that you be very specific with your language and intentional. And using words like taking out a whole civilization or saying we're going to finish them off, you need to be specific and mindful about your words. If it's about regime change, say it's about regime change. If it's about nuclear weapons, say it's about nuclear weapons, and be clear about what you're doing. It's irresponsible to throw around words like that in a global situation.
And this is the first time you and I get to co-host together since the war began, I believe. I mean, it's been a while.
So.
Yeah.
I think so.
Over the weekend, there were peace talks, and I was hopeful because it was going to be between the U.S. and Iran with Pakistan as the mediator, but they failed, which is why we're here now with the blockade. And my concern is that the president is sending two very different messages at the exact same time. Basically, he was saying the U.S. has the upper hand, Iran is weak, and this could be over very quickly. But at the same time now, he's moving forward with this blockade. He's issuing threats. He's, there's signs there for potential of an even bigger conflict. And those two things don't go together. So what is it if we're winning and it's almost over, which I hope you don't escalate. But if you're escalating, it's not almost over.
Especially if China decides to get more involved behind the scenes, because then there's that. I don't know if everyone saw, but there were reports throughout the weekend, U.S. intelligence reports that China was sending shoulder missiles to Iran. And so now the president is threatening China with 50% tariffs. And who does that impact once again?
Right.
It ends up being Americans, footing the bill for all this. But listen, it's not all about money here. The point is, if you're trying to get to a point where we're promised, first, we're not going to go into wars. We were told that this had to happen now, right? Because that's the question. Why did this have to happen now? Why did Venezuela have to happen at that moment? What was the pressing issue at that moment that you needed to go in and do it now? But you have to kind of look around the corner and say, if China gets more involved in this, then is that a de-escalation? Is that going to help us end this quickly?
Yeah, how
far do you think China is willing to go in supporting Iran when we have such strong economic ties to the U.S.?
But anything to try to weaken the U.S. and make China that much stronger, I wouldn't doubt it. And I saw those same reports too. But I mean, these are all just very worrisome. I'd love to hear from you listening right now that we are, deep into it. It's not going to be a quick war. How are you feeling about what you're hearing? What the latest developments over the weekend? Text us 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. If you are planning a summer trip, you're going to want to check the prices, or maybe you have already, Angela, when it comes to flights.
Oh, that was the reason. Normally we go on, like when my first daughter got accepted to colleges, we would go and visit.
Yeah.
And this time it was like, we can't visit all these places. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Well, jet fuel has basically doubled since the war began, jumping from about $99 a barrel in late February to more than $200 just this last week. And airlines, we've been telling you, are wasting no time passing that cost along. Alaska Airlines just raised baggage fees. Delta, United, American, Southwest, JetBlue, they're all raising their prices too, not just with bag fees. Travelers at SeaTac Airport tell KOMO4 News these big price tags are curbing their travel plans.
It's just gotten harder and harder for people to travel, for sure.
I'm not going to travel as much as I have been. Fulfill my commitments and then lay low.
I was actually looking on the plane for some summer travel plans, and the flights to Europe are astronomical right now, and feeling like probably won't be able to afford to go.
And unfortunately, driving isn't a whole lot better. Right now, gas in the Seattle area is about, $5.50 to $5.60 a gallon, which is among the highest in the country.
Yeah. So you know it's bad when the teenagers are complaining. So my daughter came to me. She's like, do you know how much it costs me to fill up my gas? I paid $60. Now I'm paying $80. I mean, she is tracking it, And here's the deal. It's one thing when I recognize that it's a privilege to be able to talk about, okay, I can't go on college visits, or maybe someone can't go on their vacation. But when we think about air travel, for people, it's that connection to the family member who's sick. It's going to a funeral. It's all these connections where people have to go or really want to go be there, and they can't. And then there's the impact on business. I mean, it just trickles down, right?
Yeah,
it's not just one thing.
It does. We're not even in summer. We haven't even hit Memorial Day yet.
And what drives me nuts about this is, my teenager has a backstop, right? She has parents. But for people who, let's say you work a job and you're barely getting by, no one's raising your pay by that at that moment,
No.
Just less. You're just making less.
I have heard from a bunch of people. We have some flights coming up later in the year, and thankfully we purchased them a while back. Yeah. But I'm even considering, because we are going to be traveling around the Mediterranean, I'm like, do I even want to travel? Do we need to make different travel plans?
Yeah.
We're going to be on a cruise. I mean, so I know, and again, my problems are very small, but everyone's having to make different considerations.
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
of what's, and the longer the stretch is, the more considerations you have to make. And one of the things that we're finding out is that Seattle was expecting a nearly $1 billion World Cup windfall this summer, but now that outlook is slipping. So this is according to the Seattle Times. Early projections had the event bringing in close to $900 million, around 20,000 new jobs, and generating more than $100 million in tax revenue. But now that forecast has been cut by nearly 10% because of the war and a drop in international travel. Now they're expecting fewer visitors from places like Canada. They're counting on more domestic travelers instead. I mean, if you look, the hotel prices are still surging. One room near Lumen Field, according to the Seattle Times, jumped from about $230 a night to more than $1,300 during match week. And whenever we talk about the World Cup, I was thinking, it's far away. It's far away. I mean, Seattle's going to be hosting 6 matches starting June 15th. That's not that far away.
No, it's not that far away at all. I think about this economic impact and international travel, people not coming from Canada. If you just think about in the last couple of years who all we've offended, let's just have that piece in terms of who we have offended in terms of countries. And maybe not feeling like, I don't want to come to the U.S. right now. That's one bucket of people. Then there's the bucket of how expensive it is. Mm-hmm. So we've talked about that. And then people are concerned about safety. And I mean, I've had people tell me, we're not flying because I'm not really trusting the FAA and the because we've had these little incidents, and it's like, hey, is it under control right now? I mean, so people are jittery for a number of reasons. I mean, how do you feel about international travel, period? I mean, it's one thing to go to Hawaii, right? But in general, how do you feel about international travel as an American?
Well, that was a consideration when I went to the Philippines. I was fine. I did not notice. I mean, even with the government shutdown at the time, I mean, TSA was amazing. And the funny thing is, people were still extremely kind and receptive. When, I mean, there was a time when I was on a boat, I will be honest, and they were asking everybody, because everyone's from around the world when we were in the Philippines and traveling to these places, very touristy. And they were asking everybody, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? And the host was trying to identify everybody from where they're from. I happened to be the only traveler from the U.S. And interestingly enough, some people were stuck there because they couldn't go back home because the war had started. Anyway, and I remember I hesitated for a minute, and normally I wouldn't even hesitate for a second, but I hesitated. And I will just tell you that they understand that not everybody is in favor of everything that's going on. And I think that they want to find reasons to still love us as Americans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean,
absolutely.
But it did cause me to.
You've never had that pause. Yeah, I'll never forget being in Japan years ago. This was during the first term of the first Trump presidency, his first time in office. And this lady came up to me, and I'm in Japan, and she said, "Why would you elect someone like that?" It's like, I don't know what you mean. But yeah, at the very least, I think people have a lot of questions when you do say you're American. They have a lot of, because whether you agree with his policies or not, he is, shaken up the world stage.
Yes, he definitely has. I mean, and everyone is very aware. They're acutely aware of what is going on in this country.
Yes.
Funny enough.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about one other thing locally that I think is just dominating the headlines is this new millionaire's tax.
Yes.
It's already headed to court. It could come down to a nearly 100-year-old ruling. And former State Attorney General Rob McKenna is leading this lawsuit, along with former State Supreme Court Justice Phil Talmadge. And they're arguing that the tax is unconstitutional. And they're pointing to this 1933 State Supreme Court decision that says income is property and has to be taxed uniformly at no more than 1%. And as you know, this new law taxes income over $1 million at nearly 10%. The state says it's going to fight to uphold it. Some supporters are hoping the court uses this case to overturn that old precedent. Now, we have Rob McKenna joining us at 9:30. But before we talk to him, I'm just curious how you've reacted to this tax.
If not favorably, if it were just this tax, I don't think I would have the same feeling. It's that there appears to be no strategy around how we're rolling out these taxes from county to city to state. And as a result, people in most brackets, period, are just feeling like this is too much. And I know folks will say, listen, anyone, because this bill doesn't apply to anyone with an income under $1 million, right? So if you're making more than $1 million, the average person is like, hey,
yeah,
you
but
can
a couple
pay more.
making over $1 million would be affected.
Yes, and the fact that like I said, if it were just that one thing,
yes,
then it's a myriad of things.
Yes.
And so a lot of them, but I understand
the lack of guardrails is the thing that bothers me. I'm also not convinced that we have done a good job of figuring out where we can control our spending.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to make sure. It's when we say, okay, control spending, it can seem like this performative thing we say, and I know that's not where you're coming from. But seriously, if you just look at all of the counties around this state, we're raising property taxes. We're having a city tax. We're having this.
Yes.
We're doing all these things.
We're taxed out.
And what I was going to say earlier, that also my train of thought on, is that I know some people are thinking, you know what, if you're making over $1 million, I don't feel sorry for you and blah, blah, blah. All I'm saying is we have to have a strategy in the state that keeps people here. So they're not doing stuff like this of saying, you know what, I'm going to live 7 months over here and then come here and live here for so many months, because people are doing that. They're just going to have ways to skirt around it. We need to find ways I think it's changing the energy of how we treat all people.
Well, we're going to have Rob McKenna coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show. Stay with us.
The John Curley Show.
If by like the 15th of October rolls around and suddenly there's a bolt of lightning and I croak out right there, I'm fine.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
My dream of growing a giant pumpkin is just a couple of months away. I know somebody who knows somebody who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows someone who got me the seed, the 1,500-pounder, baby. It's in a secret location. I don't want to say where it is.
Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
This is Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland. I'm working to lower costs, grow the middle class, keep us safe, and defend our freedom. I'm also here to help you with the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, the VA, passports, and more. We've recovered over $16 million for taxpayers and look forward to helping you. Call me at 360-459-8514 or visit strickland.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey, this is Jake Skorheim, and you know what they say, April showers bring May clogged and overflowing gutters. However, Valentine Roofing, they've got you covered. Right now, you can bundle and save 10% off your entire job when you add new gutters to any new roofing project. Plus, with flexible financing available and payments as low as $159 a month, Valentine makes it easy. Schedule your free roofing and gutter estimate today to bundle and save 10%. Just call 206 Roofing. That's 206 Roofing. And remember, when you see the red Valentine van, you know your home is in good hands.
The deadline for filing taxes is coming up. Donate your car to Cars for Kids for a 2026 tax deduction. Go to carsforkids.org today. That's cars with a K.
Some people out there love to do things entirely on their own. Others ask for help and trust their resources. When involved in an auto accident, you've got the choice of dealing with insurance on your own or hiring an attorney. I'm joined in studio by Harold D. Carr. He represents Harold Carr Law Offices. Harold, what's one of the main reasons for seeking representation?
If you were to look at statistics, most people end up with a lot less recovery when they don't have a law firm representing them.
And why should they hire Harold Carr Law Offices?
We're not shy about bringing lawsuits. We do try to settle, and insurance companies know that. They know that we're fair in how we talk to them. The answer is really we are very professional. But we've had cases, big and small, where we've had to take it into litigation, and about 98% of those will settle in mediation, a lot more than the client originally expected.
Visit carlaw.com. That's carlaw.com. 2 R's in car. Car accident? Call Carr.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm John Repp. The United States blockade of the Strait of Hormuz is now in effect. No entry or exit. Military analyst and retired U.S. Army Major Mike Lyons speaking with CBS News about the options President Trump has set up.
You saw the president say that we are going after the petroleum sites and not necessarily blocking the strait, so we're going to allow certain ships through it, but for all practical purposes, just try to do this economic blockade on Iran itself.
President Donald Trump also went after Pope Leo XIV on Truth Social for his criticisms of the Iran war. Mr. Trump calling the Pope weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. Pope Leo responded by saying that he will not shy away from announcing the message of the gospel. CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand says the president is getting more criticism over an AI-generated image of him depicted as Jesus.
Conservative activists are specifically calling out that AI image, saying it is blasphemous, and also adding they just cannot understand why the president would post a picture like that.
Closer to home, the conflict with Iran affecting more than just oil prices. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey reports the war is dampening tourism demand.
Just a couple of months away from kickoff, and tourism officials are expecting a nearly 10% drop in revenue for shops, hotels, and restaurants. According to the Seattle Times, fewer foreign visitors because of the U.S. conflict with Iran. And with negotiations stalled and crude oil rising again, Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says,
things are about to start going back up again with oil prices surging.
Visit Seattle says the 6 World Cup matches here in Seattle will still bring in $846 million and create 20,000 jobs. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
New safety improvements could be on the way for Seattle's Gasworks Park after a 15-year-old fell to his death last year after climbing the structures there. The Seattle Times reports that the city's Department of Construction and Inspections issued an order to remove unsafe ladders, catwalks, and piping from the historic towers or face a lawsuit and fines. Taking a look at Wall Street right now, the Dow down 87 points amid uncertainty over oil prices. The S&P 500 is essentially flat, up 19 points, and the NASDAQ up 113 points at this hour. KIRO News Radio traffic. Federal way to Seattle, 23 minutes, slightly below average. Things looking pretty good around the region. Linwood to South Center via 405. It's right at the average time of 52 minutes as well. It is significantly faster if you're heading from Linwood to South Center if you take I-5, though. 36 minutes, that's well below the average, and no issues that I'm seeing across the bridges either way. Traffic brought to you by Day and Night Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. This month, when you install a new AC or heat pump, you'll get a free furnace from Day and Night Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Schedule today at dayandnight.net. KIRO News Radio weather. You can expect some cloudy skies, some intermittent showers today. The high of 55 degrees tomorrow. More rain moving in and maybe some scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms possible on Wednesday with a high of 50. Currently, right now in downtown Seattle, 49 degrees. I'm John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today. Angela Poe Russell is in. We've been talking about Washington's new millionaire tax. It is now headed for a major legal showdown. Former State Attorney General Rob McKenna is leading a lawsuit arguing that this tax is unconstitutional. It targets income over $1 million at nearly 10%. The current state AG, Nick Brown, says his office is going to fight to uphold it.
We will defend the law as it is. If it actually went to the ballot, I'm not sure the people who are opposing this law would actually be happy with the result.
So this is now shaping up to be one of the biggest legal battles in our state history. And former state AG Rob McKenna joins us now live. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I want to talk about this precedent case, the 1933 case. It has blocked income taxes in Washington for decades by saying income is property. And supporters of this new law say the court got it wrong. What is your argument?
Well, the supporters are spinning a tale, trying to get people to believe that this all comes down to one Supreme Court decision in 1933. It absolutely does not. First of all, in 1930, the voters amended the state constitution to expand the definition of property in the Constitution so that it would reach all kinds of intangible forms of property as well as real property. Intangible forms like stocks, bonds, money, and income. And they did that by adopting a definition which is that property is everything tangible and intangible subject to ownership. And in 1933, the first of several state Supreme Court decisions came out that said, well, income is part of everything. It's an intangible, and it's subject to ownership. We have property rights to it. In 1934, the legislature, realizing, well, if we want a graduated income tax, we need to amend the Constitution again, sent the first of 6 proposed constitutional amendments to the ballot that went to the ballot over the years. And that 1934 constitutional amendment, which would have allowed a graduated income tax, was soundly defeated by the voters. 5 more times over the decades, the legislature sent amendments to the voters to say, hey, how about allowing us to have a graduated income tax? The voters said no every time. The last time that a constitutional amendment was on the ballot was in the 1970s, and it was defeated 77 to 23%. There have also been 4 ballot measures, initiatives, most recently in 2010 with Initiative 1098, that would have created income taxes. They were all defeated. So 10 times in a row, the voters have said, thank you very much. No, we don't want an income tax. We don't want to amend income out of the definition of property. And so you have the plain language of the Constitution. You have several Supreme Court decisions, not just the 1933 decision, that have reached the obvious conclusion that income is part of everything, it's intangible, and it's subject to ownership. So that if we want to have an income tax, it has to meet the rules for property taxes. And the voters have again and again and again said, yeah, we like it that way. We don't want to exclude income from that definition of property.
What made you want to take this on? I mean, you can't argue that in our state we do have what a lot of folks call that unfair tax system in terms of higher percentage, for lower income people, a higher percentage of their income going to taxes. You can't argue with that, right? So what made you want to take this on?
Well, actually, I can't argue with that because the proponents of that view use a deeply flawed study from Berkeley that's many years old. In fact, now it doesn't even take into account the capital gains tax, right? Number 2, it doesn't take into account government transfers to people. So on the one hand, people pay taxes. On the other hand, they receive transfers from the government, and those transfers aren't factored in at all.
What do you mean government transfers? What do you mean by that?
Any kind of payments, everything from EBT to earned income tax credit, anything that the government pays people, it's a flow that goes the other way. And if you want to look at the total burden of government, you look at how much people pay, but also how much they receive. And not surprisingly, people on the lower end of the income scale tend to receive a lot more in government transfers. So as a result, the Federal Reserve has concluded that Washington State is about in the middle of the pack when it comes to taxes. And keep in mind that if this tax is upheld, it's not just going to apply to people who earn over $1 million. They will extend it, as every income tax in our country's history has been expanded and extended to reach a lot more taxpayers than just the people at the top. So that's what's really at stake here. And that's why I think the voters have, 10 times in a row said, yeah, we don't want an income tax that is higher than 1% and isn't uniform. They like things the way they are. It's kind of like Oregon voters who have repeatedly been asked to adopt a state sales tax and local sales taxes, and they've rejected those. So they don't want them. So, the final point, though, is that you can argue about how the tax burden is distributed. Okay, that was the argument that was made when all those constitutional amendments were sent to the ballot. The voters rejected them. That was the argument that was made when those initiatives were sent to the ballot, and they were all rejected by voters 10 times in a row. So I think we have to, honor the voters' will here. And I think it's notable that the proponents of this tax have been very careful to keep this tax away from the voters, notwithstanding our Attorney General's statement, well, you wouldn't be happy if this went to the voters. Really? Then why did the legislature work so hard to keep it away from the voters? Shouldn't they have the say on this like they have had 10 times before?
And it's great that you mentioned that, because that is one of my biggest frustrations, is that there could have been guardrails put into this law, but the Democrats in Olympia chose not to put that in there.
Right. That's right.
So let's talk about, you've said, though, that if lawmakers want an income tax, they need a constitutional amendment. Why is that step so important here? I mean, just to be basic for everybody.
Okay, so going back to the language that voters adopted in 1930, they did that. They expanded the definition of property to be as expansive as you can imagine, right? Everything tangible or intangible subject to ownership. And they did that because they were tired. A lot of property owners, like farmers, were tired of carrying a disproportionate share of the tax burden. So the reason they adopted this expansive definition of property was precisely to reach all intangible forms of property. And that means that if you tax intangible forms of property like income, you have to meet the rules for property taxes. Or you could amend the Constitution and allow higher tax rates on some intangibles like income, but it would require a constitutional amendment. Again, in 1934, the voters had their first chance to do that, and they said no. And every time they've been asked to change the Constitution since then, they have said no. So the voters have been responsible for establishing the system that we have. Other legislatures that have wanted to change that have done the right thing. They've put together the votes to pass constitutional amendments out of the legislature and send them to the voters, because constitutional amendments have to be approved by voters. That's the appropriate set of steps to take if we're going to honor what our Constitution requires. But this legislature decided to be different and not go to the voters, not send them a constitutional amendment, and instead they're just hoping that the Supreme Court will make a different decision than all the Supreme Court decisions before. We'll reimagine the plain meaning of the language in the Constitution, and we'll ignore the fact that the voters have been really emphatic that they like the system that we have now.
Okay, Rob, I only have 30 seconds, but this case will likely end up at the Washington Supreme Court, and there are an unprecedented 5 seats up for election this year. How much could that turnover influence a case like this, or would it?
Yeah, I mean, it could. I don't know who's going to be elected, but you're going to have at least 4 new justices, or 4 justices who were not on the bench when the capital gains excise tax was heard. And the court said, well, that's actually an excise tax. It's called an excise tax, and they upheld it as such. But this is an income tax, and you're going to have 4 new justices there, and they'll obviously have a big say because the capital gains decision was split. It was not unanimous. So we'll have to see. It depends a lot on who's elected, but it certainly brings more focus to the Supreme Court races than we've had in a very long time.
Former State Attorney General Rob McKenna, the plaintiff's attorney in this case, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, still ahead, we are going to talk about something that is near and dear to Angela's heart, and I want to hear more about this because I don't know how you stay calm when you are basically going to be presenting your baby to the rest of the world coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yes. New musical coming out May 15th.
So
and
we'll talk about it. I already have my tickets. We'll talk about that coming up next.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical,
there's no beating CM Heating.
With Aetna, I always get a quick answer, and I don't have to search on the internet. They go above and beyond to help me with whatever I need.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctor's offices when requested. We show up with access to convenient care options. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Nick, you know what my dad always used to say?
Oh, which thing? Let me guess. If you put anything on a hot dog besides mustard, it's un-American?
Okay, that's true. Okay, but no, about the word worry. Remember he used to say about the word worry?
Yes, that it's not a verb, but it actually is.
I know it's a verb, but Nick, his point was nothing comes from worrying. You can sit here and worry about all the news and all about the chaos in the world. You worry about your health, but nothing comes of it. You have to take action.
Right.
Like, for instance, you and I, we go into Longevity Medical Clinic. That's an action. It's about taking that action. Like, people can go to Longevity Medical Clinic to get the free health analysis, and then they can find out how they're aging and the things they can do in order to slow down the process to have a big, full, rich life so you can enjoy a hot dog with whatever you want on it.
And now worry is a verb.
See, there you go. So it all starts for you taking action. I was a patient at Longevity long before I started doing these commercials. So get your free health analysis. Go to lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
So what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings on the new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best scores.
Just like last year. What about those new high dynamic range TVs?
They got the highest scores of all, but their prices are really high.
Did you check online?
Yeah, their prices were about the same.
Well, there's one place where we can get a hot deal on those top-rated models.
Where?
At Video Only. Check out the ratings on TV stores.
I see. Video Only scored better than the others.
So, if you want the best deal on the best TVs,
then we should take our TV ratings and head over to top-rated Video Only.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In South Center, Bellevue, Linwood, Federal Way, and Tacoma, Video Only.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250. Say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk. The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Parango and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or AdvancedHair.com.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is recovering from his big party and his big 50th birthday.
He looks so good.
He really did.
Dressed up,
Yes. I mean, he always looks good, but he was especially sharp yesterday.
Yes.
It was just so wonderful to hear people sharing his journey and to celebrate this big milestone for him. Check out our Gee and Ursula Show Facebook page if you want to see some of the pictures of us all dolled up.
Yeah. And you know what I really enjoyed is meeting some more of his family members.
Yes.
I had never met, I'm not going to do this, call him Baby G. I'm not going to.
Oh, no. You know what? I asked him, I said, Baby G, I'm trying to call you G Jr. now. And he said, no, keep calling me Baby G. That's what he told me. So he said, yeah, most people still do. Like,
it's awesome that he's embraced it.
Yeah, it is very sweet. And his daughter was there and his aunt was there and his cousin. And they were actually in studio last Friday.
Oh,
so
okay,
that
I
was really
missed it.
special
Okay,
as well.
awesome.
But this is the first chance I'm getting to talk to you about this baby that you are going to be presenting to the world. And I say it because, I mean, this is something that you've nurtured. It's the Aviatrix.
Yes,
And
Aviatrix, the musical. Yes.
So, and I don't know of anyone other than you in my life who has ever written a musical. So,
is that why people look at me strange whenever they're like, what have you been up to? And I say it and they just look at me strange?
Yes. It's not every day you run into someone who's written a musical that is coming to life.
It was quite bold, right?
Yes,
like I must
it was.
be crazy.
So tell us about why. What's the gist of the story, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, the story is about a person who refused to take no for an answer when it came to pursuing a dream. And back in the early 1920s, women weren't allowed to attend flight school. And she was a Black and Native woman from the Deep South, from Texas, and she got the nose as well. So, but ultimately, you know, as you'll find out in the story, she found a way. And so that's what this is all about. It's about persistence and community.
So when did you decide, you know what, I love this story. I love this story so much that I want to make a musical out of it?
It's interesting. You know, I did a movie for Lifetime years ago. So I'd been dabbling in other genres.
Say what?
And so I know I call that movie my first house. And because I didn't have a lot of control, they pretty much, you send in what you send in, and then they can change it. They can change the title. Like, you have no control. And so I hated it and swore like I would never do that again. And so I became really intrigued by theater. And in theater, you can really, well, first of all, it's a different experience, right? It's live in person. And it's still storytelling, and the playwright is respected to the point where, you know, you're like, they don't change stuff without talking to me as the playwright. And it's not a control issue because it still is collaborative. But the idea in movies that you sell a script and they can just go do whatever they want with it is troubling.
So how long?
The director is praised in the film world.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So how long did that take for you to write? Because you're also raising kids at the same time, working. So how did you do that?
I'm fortunate to work with a theater that really wants to empower more women to have access to spaces. So they valued me as a mother, realizing that you have these other worlds, and that's okay. So bit by bit, with a lot of support over the course of about 3 years. So that's how I did it. So it comes out May 15th.
Okay.
I want to talk to you because
no. It comes out May 15th. No, we need to finish. May 15th. Where?
Seattle Public Theater. So if you go to seattlepublictheater.org/aviatrix. And I know opening night is sold out, but there are some other dates.
Yes.
So
we're going on a Sunday.
Okay, yeah. So Sunday, looking good. So okay, you'll be there the first Sunday that it opens.
Yes.
Okay, that's Sunday the 17th. I think.
Yes. Well, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Honestly,
thank you.
that is something very few people can say. I've not just write a play, but do it in a musical form.
Yes, and I have a composer, so we work together. We share the lyric space. And she does music, I do, so we kind of collaborate and work together.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
You'll get to meet her.
The Aviatrix. You can buy a ticket still.
Yeah, and everybody, I've been trying to talk to Ursula about her project and she won't let me, but I am so excited about Ask Ursula. So if you haven't heard, she has this new segment because she has all these years of experience hearing stories, and she's really good at giving advice. So we're why not turn this into a segment? So now you have Ask Ursula. So
Yes.
and it can be confidential if people want,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So how do people ask you that? Because it's a new show, kind of, right?
Well, it's a podcast.
Okay.
And it's going to be shared on our social media and on mynorthwest.com. So it's going to be written as well.
Okay.
So I will give written responses. And what we're doing right now, we're still trying to feel it out. Sophia is my producer.
Oh,
and
what?
we're still, I know.
Yes!
I know.
Okay.
So we're still trying to fill it out. So we did the first one, and you can see my answer. So you can see the question and the answer on the Gee and Ursula Show Facebook page as well, but as well as on mynorthwest.com. Email me at askursula@bonneville.com, or you can go to mynorthwest.com/askursula, and you can see, I was at the Kraken game on Saturday, and a question came in.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like, okay, I couldn't even concentrate on the Kraken game anymore. I was like, oh, wow, this is a really good one.
Ask Ursula at
Bonneville.com.
Bonneville. Bonneville's 2 M's. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel a lot of pressure?
Not yet.
Okay.
But people are going deep. One person asked me for perfume advice, and I'm for that. And then the one that I'm recording tomorrow is asking for dating advice.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And episode 1 is live. If anyone's curious,
Yes.
the first episode is up on mynorthwest.com, so you can see Ursula's first bit of
so
advice.
excited.
Yes.
Congrats. This is perfect. I'm so glad you both are doing this.
Yes,
I am so
fun.
happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, more of the Gee and Ursula Show coming up.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
For a limited time, upgrade your home's comfort and cut energy costs with Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Get 20% off energy-efficient windows and doors, plus $1,000 off whole home projects. New windows help keep your home warmer in the winter, cooler in the summer, and your energy bills lower year-round. Plus, enjoy 18 months, no payments, no interest, only through